Come to Helmuth Ford, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Hi, this is Stacy from Shuttler Insurance Services. Come see me on the east side of the square in Sigourney for all your insurance needs.
The Keokuk County Expo Fair Kickoff Barbecue Cook-Off Meal and Tractor Show is Saturday, July 12th. Pork ribs, pork loin, chicken hindquarters, potatoes, green beans, and dessert. The Tractor Show is all day. Meal for the public begins at 5:30 for a free will offering. For more information, call Neil Weir at 641-660-3359. It's the Keokuk County Expo Fair Kickoff Barbecue Cook-Off Meal and Tractor Show, Saturday, July 12th. Skunk River Radio, country music from 1990 through 2010 with some Iowa country music sprinkled in. Listen at skunkriverradio.com, download the app, listen on Alexa by saying, Alexa, play Skunk River Radio on TuneIn. Skunk River Radio will also be available on Google Assistant in the near future. You can listen to me, Steve Schattler, each weekday morning from 6 a.m. to noon and listen to The Haze from noon to 6 p.m. Skunk River Radio, online radio for country music from 1990 to 2010.
This is the Jet Dealer, and you're watching Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
This is Trent Hammer, and you are watching Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
Wrestling fans, if you want the best wrestling news, you want to watch Shotgun Wrestling Radio. This is James Jeffries, and tell them that I sent you there. Yeah!
Hey everybody, this is Brock Anderson, and you are watching Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
What's up, baby? It's Ricky Bronson, your favorite baller and beer drinker, baby, and you're watching Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
Hey, this is Mason Grayskull, and you're watching Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
Hey, this is Jared Thumb, and you are watching Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
This is Augustus Draven, and you're watching Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Shotgun Wrestling Radio. I'm your host, Zach Takis, and we are continuing our road to the Hall of Fame weekend, which is coming up just about a month away. We are pretty much a month away, July 17th, 18th, and 19th, Waterloo, Iowa, the annual Hall of Fame weekend, and I'm being joined by last year's Jim Melby Award winner, the one and the only Mr. Al Getz. Al, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, Zach. Thanks so much for having me back on. So this is my, I'm a two-timer now on Shotgun Wrestling Radio. But I got to ask you something, Zach. When you started this podcast, did you ever think you would be able to have Eric Bischoff on as a guest?
Man, that was so the funny thing about that was everyone keeps asking me, like, hey, how'd you get Bischoff on? I was like, I actually sent Eric a tweet one day. I was like, I even used the great Wayne Gretzky quote that you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And I said, hey, would you be willing to come on the pod and talk about coming to Waterloo? And then I mentioned that I was an Ad Free Shows member, and I tagged Ad Free Shows. Well, somebody from Ad Free Shows jumped in and kind of got us in touch, and that's how we got that going. And yeah, my former co-host, I know he would have been pooping his pants because he was always a bigger WCW fan growing up. So I know he probably was looking down, smiling at that one because yeah, that was a lot of fun, and especially too the time that we did that. We did it pretty much right after he announced the Real American Freestyle, the new wrestling, amateur wrestling that he's getting ready to launch. So we got to talk a little bit about that and a little bit about everything. It sounds like he's pretty excited to be coming to Waterloo though, and I think he'll bring a lot of eyes to Waterloo that weekend because Eric had quite the stamp on professional wrestling.
Absolutely, he did, and yeah, even someone like myself who is in the wrestling business still, it's Eric Bischoff. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah,
I think I very briefly met him. I once worked when I was working as an independent wrestling manager. We did some extra spots for WCW as R&B security. So I think we were backstage earlier in the day. This would have been in Lafayette, Louisiana. I think we had a very, very brief hi. Blah blah blah. Blah.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be nice to kind of get to chat with him in a little bit more relaxed environment because everybody knows that comes to Waterloo. It's very relaxed. Like even if you're just walking around the museum, it's a very relaxed environment. Everybody's very approachable when you're at the museum.
It is, and I certainly enjoyed my time in the past. First, as just as just a fan, so to speak. But then last year, as the recipient of the Melby Award for 2024, it was really, really great to see the respect I got from the people there, but also the respect from the all the wrestlers and past award winners. So a funny story: when you're in independent wrestling, particularly in the 90s and early 2000s, your biggest goal was to get a phone number to get a phone call from a 203 area code, because that's the area code for Connecticut, and that meant the WWE was calling you up. So in all my days in indie wrestling, I never got that, but shortly after I learned that I was going to get the Melby Award last year, my phone rings and it's a 203 number. And so I guessed, I correctly guessed who it was. It was, of course, Mr. Briscoe. So just to be able to have a conversation with Gerald Briscoe and JBL and some of the others, and be treated not a peer, let's not say, certainly not a peer, but to be treated as more than just, oh, this indie wrestling guy or this fan or this so and so, that this is someone. And so of course this year Tim Hornbaker is getting the award. Although I'm going to say I still think he needs to pin me in order to get the award for this year. I think we should start a new tradition like at Festivus. It's not over until you pin me. My reign as the Melby Award winner is not over until Tim Hornbaker pins me.
I've been trying to reach out to him and get him booked on the pod, because I read I think it was a couple years ago, I finally did read his because I'm pretty sure it was the Death of the Territories book that he wrote, which is a fantastic read. If you want to know more about territory wrestling, I can't recommend that book enough. It made sense to me. Just reading the book and reading more and more about what happened, I'm like, yeah, that totally made sense, because if it wasn't going to be Vince, it was going to be somebody else. Yes,
it was. Actually, several years back, I think I was talking with Tim, and I said something along the lines of, your book is Death of the Territories. In a way, what I'm doing with charting the territories is trying to bring life to the territories, and to sort of shine the spotlight on how they function and how they operated, until, of course, they all died.
So, Al, the real burning question that I think a lot of people have on mind for you: how is the baseball stadium tour going this year for you?
Oh, it's been a lot of fun. For some of your listeners that may not be familiar, I've over the years I attended every Major League Baseball stadium, and then in 2022 I decided to attend all of them within that season. And now in 2025, I'm doing that again, but I'm also adding, I think, about 35 to 40 minor league or other ballparks. And actually, we're recording this the night before I'm about to leave. I'm heading to Washington State first, where I'm going to catch a minor league game in Tacoma and then a Mariners game in Seattle. But then from there, I am flying farther west and farther north than I've ever been in my life. I'm going to Fairbanks, Alaska, for a special game. They have it every year on June 20th, the first day of summer. It's called the Midnight Sun Game. Oh, cool. It is an evening game. It starts at 10:30 at night, but they don't use any artificial lights. Right. Because it'll be daylight. As a matter of fact, I believe the sunset is going to be at 1:37 a.m. on June 21st. And here's the crazy thing. I was looking at the weather forecast. During the day on June 20th in Alaska, it is going to be 84 degrees. Yep. They actually just issued their first ever heat advisory.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to Waterloo. And while I'm there, I am going to catch an Iowa Cubs game they're in Des Moines, right? Yep. Yeah. So I'm catching that on Sunday, after the induction Hall of Fame induction weekend.
Excellent. Yeah, it's June 16th, and as we talk now, the Cubs are currently 5.5 games in first in the NL Central, which if you would have told me that at the beginning of the season, I'd probably been like, there's no way that they'll be 5.5 games up. But as a Cubs fan, I couldn't be more excited. And the thing that's impressed me the most about them, their bullpen, because everybody said, we all said going into the season, their bullpen was their weakest link, but their bullpen over the last month or so has just been lights out.
And that's great because they have so many very good players, you know, Hap, Dansby, all those guys, and then to see what PCA has done so far this season. So for the last couple of years, I always said my favorite baseball player to watch in all facets of the game was Bobby Witt Jr. From Kansas City. Yep. I think so far this season, I think PCA has one-upped him, as whether he's batting, fielding, on the bases, or anything. He is just the five-tool player, as they say, and just spectacular at everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like he's kind of one of those dudes that could be for them like their next future star. And if they're not careful, they need to lock him into a long extension here pretty soon, because otherwise his price tag is just going to keep going up for him.
Yeah, and that's always the struggle with baseball teams is when you find that diamond in the rough. You know, how do you keep them? And in a market like Chicago and with a team like the Cubs, they have the payroll to do it. But at the same time, they've been doing that with so many of their talent. You know, Dansby got an incredible deal a few years ago. So at some point, there's not an endless supply of money. Yeah, just almost endless.
Well, especially when you have an owner here the last several months who's been saying we're just trying to break even every year. It's like, ooh, that's not a good look for you.
It's not. That's a tough division though. I was just up in Milwaukee last week to see the Braves. The Atlanta Braves were up there playing Milwaukee. So and that's always a big rivalry. The Cubs and the Brewers. I think when I'm going to St. Louis later in the summer, it's when the Cubs are there. So that's another classic rivalry. Is the Cards and the Cubs. That's right up there, you know, with Austin and Brett. Yep. To try and bring it back to the topic at hand. I would love to talk baseball with you this whole time, Zach,
absolutely.
But I think your listeners want to hear about the wrestling.
Absolutely. You know,